There was a time when you didn't need 1,000 cylinders to feel free. The Honda CBX 250 was enough. A simple, reliable, tireless bike that was there for thousands during their first miles and on journeys that seemed endless. It wasn't the fastest or the flashiest, but it was always there, starting up, holding strong, getting the job done. Today, we're going back to those years when riding was all about feeling, to tell the story of a bike that didn't shout, but earned its place as a legend. It all starts with the CB250 RS. This was the true starting point of the whole story. In the early 80s, Honda understood something crucial. Not everyone wanted to race or impress anyone. A lot of people needed a bike to live their lives on. Go to work, travel cheaply, use it every day without overthinking it. That's how the RE was born. Honda was looking for a 250 that was lightweight, simple, economical, and reliable, even before being fun. That's why they chose the most logical recipe possible. Single-cylinder, 4-stroke, air-cooled, carbureted, single overhead cam, and 0 unnecessary complications. No trends, no risks. And even though the Honda CBX 250 RS is a single-cylinder, it has 2 exhausts thanks to its cylinder head design with dual exhaust ports. A technically advanced feature for its time. It had 249 cubic centimeters, SOHC, at about 26 horsepower, a very lightweight with a low center of gravity and maintenance that was almost non-existent. It wasn't a fast or flashy bike, and it never tried to be. Its virtue was something else. It always started, even in the cold, with little maintenance or after weeks of sitting idle. It was reliable, gentle, and predictable. That's exactly why it was so valued. The CB250 RS was mainly designed for Europe, where daily motorcycle use was a real necessity. There, it earned a reputation as an honest, robust, and reliable machine, perfect for everyday use. It didn't make you feel like a racer, but it never left you stranding. And here's where the idea that changes everything is born. A bike that doesn't bother you, doesn't surprise you, doesn't impress you, but also never lets you down. Sudden. Logic, rather than emotion, is the direct foundation of everything that would come after. The Honda CBX 250 RS was much more than just a simple evolution. It was a total reinvention of Honda's 250 single-cylinder concept. If the CB250 RS had been born as a logical, simple, and utilitarian bike, the CBX 250 RS arrived to prove that this foundation could be transformed into something much sportier, more sophisticated, and technologically advanced, without losing reliability. Honda understood that the market was starting to demand more than just durability. They wanted performance, character, and a feeling closer to a serious motorcycle. The key change was in the engine, where Honda made a huge leap forward. They abandoned the SOH setup and adopted a DOH derived from the XR family, incorporating the revolutionary RFVC technology, radial 4-valve combustion. The 4 valves were arranged radially, improving combustion efficiency, allowing for greater airflow and a much livelier rev range. Additionally, the design featured independent exhaust ports for each valve, something very advanced for a 250 street bike in the 1980s. The result was impressive. Power increased to about 31 horsepower at 9,500 RPM, an impressive figure for an air-cooled single-cylinder engine of that era. On top of that, there was an uncommon feature: dual carburation. Instead of a single large carburetor, the CBX 250 RS used 2 carburetors that worked progressively, improving low-end response and delivering a much more aggressive pull at higher revs, at the top end. This made the bike tame in the city, but surprisingly fun when pushed, bringing it closer to the behavior of a lightweight sport bike. In terms of chassis and transmission, there were also clear advances. Honda added a 6-speed gearbox, allowing for better use of the new power and reducing vibrations on the road. electric start became standard, making a huge difference compared to its predecessor, which relied almost exclusively on the kickstarter. The chassis was refined with a more stable telescopic fork and a 240mm front disc brake with a dual-piston caliper, and an overall setup that provided much more confidence at high speeds. In short, the CBX 250RS was the bike that turned reliability into sportiness, laying the groundwork for what would come next. It was no longer just a daily tool, it was an urban sport bike, able to thrill without losing its Honda essence. It was the perfect bridge between the logic of the CB250 RS and the more modern personality that would later be adopted by the CBX 200 Strata and finally the CBX 250 Twister. A key bike, often forgotten, but fundamental in the evolution of Japanese 250s. In the early 90s, Honda realized something that many brands took years to accept. The future wasn't just in Europe or Japan, it was in Latin America, Asia, and Africa, markets where the motorcycle wasn't a hobby, but a tool for daily life. That's how the CBX 200 Strato was born. A conceptual evolution more than a technical one. Less sophistication, more durability, less delicacy, more tolerance for everyday abuse. Its 200cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine with a simple carburetor was designed to always run, even with low-quality fuel, late oil changes, and minimal maintenance. The frame was sturdy. The suspension was simple but tough, and its extremely low fuel consumption made it a friend to your wallet. It wasn't after speed or thrills, it was after absolute reliability. The Strata earned its reputation out in the real world. Broken streets, dirt roads, extreme heat, rain, overloading, and heavy use. It served as a motorcycle, a school, a delivery bike, a family bike, and a work bike. For thousands of people, it was their first real Honda, the one that proved a motorcycle could be humble and still indestructible. And in 2001, the CBX 250 Twister appeared. It wasn't a revolution, it was something much harder to achieve. The perfection of simplicity. Honda took the accumulated experience from the European CB250 RS, the CBX 250 RS Sport, and the global Strata, and distilled it all into a motorcycle designed to last for decades. Its 249cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine, fed by a carburetor, wasn't aiming for spectacular numbers, but rather for a smooth, predictable, and everlasting power delivery, capable of performing equally well in the city, on the highway, or on rough roads. The tuning prioritized low and mid RPMs, reducing mechanical stress, while its chassis, simple but sturdy, and basic suspension were designed to handle loads, passengers, and daily abuse. It wasn't a bike to stir your passion, it was a reliable tool. It always started, used little fuel, required minimal maintenance, and forgave mistakes. That's why it became a bike for work, for school, for spontaneous trips, and as a first job bike for thousands of people. There are CBX 250s with over 200,000 kilometers without ever opening the engine, because it wasn't designed to impress, but to be with you for a lifetime. That was its true greatness, honest engineering in service of the real world. The CBX 250 was not a dream bike, it was a reliable bike, and thanks to it, Honda created the Twister. It's not that one is better than the other, they're daughters of different eras. Because before you could race, you had to learn how to get there. The CBX 250 didn't promise you excitement, it promised you'd make it home, and it delivered. And if you want to meet its sister, the CG125, click on this video.